Today, we're going to talk about something that a lot of people feel but don't always have the words for. We're exploring what happens when a childhood ends way too soon, and the quiet, lasting echoes it leaves behind in your adult life. You know that feeling when someone asks you a simple question about your childhood and you just kind of freeze? It's not because something terrible happened. Not necessarily. It's more like there's a gap. Like you went from being a kid to a mini adult and skipped a whole section in between. That's exactly what we're digging into today. And here's the thing, this feeling usually doesn't come from one big cinematic moment. It's more often a quiet buildup of 1,000 little things. It's making dinner for your siblings when you're 9. It's being the mediator in your parents' arguments. It's learning how to read a room, how to sense the tension, long before you could even read a chapter book. So what do we even call this experience? There's gotta be a name for it, right? Well, let's put a label on it. The clinical term for this is parentification. Basically, it's when a child is put in a situation where they have to take on roles and responsibilities that should belong to a grown-up. But I don't know, that term feels a little sterile. It doesn't quite capture the weight of it, does it? That feeling of being so small, but having to hold up something so much bigger than you are. And this is a really crucial point. Dr. Elisa M. Hooper, who has done a ton of research on this, says that what looks like incredible maturity in these kids, well, it isn't actually maturity at all. It's a survival adaptation. It's a child's nervous system learning to operate in crisis mode all the time as its new normal. So how does that childhood survival kit translate into adulthood? Let's take a look at how those skills play out 20, even 30 years down the line. And this is where the paradox really hits. The very superpowers you develop to get through your childhood come with a serious price tag in adulthood. Like being hyper-aware of everyone's moods, that kept you safe as a kid. But as an adult, it makes letting yourself be vulnerable feel absolutely terrifying. Being a fantastic problem solver, that was a necessity. But now, it can morph into this obsessive need to control everything around you. And being that super responsible kid, it often turns into this crippling, gnawing guilt whenever you even think about taking a break. This all leads to some very real, everyday struggles. There's that exhaustion, that bone-deep tired that no amount of sleep ever seems to fix. There's that quiet, nagging voice that tells you your worth is directly connected to how useful you are to other people. You might find yourself drawn to partners you feel you have to fix, or that a calm, stable, loving relationship feels off, almost uncomfortable. And the overthinking, my gosh, the overthinking. Playing out every possible scenario for the tiniest decision, that's a direct result of learning that unpredictability used to mean danger. See, it all comes down to a core belief you learned as a kid. If the only way you felt safe or seen or valued was by taking care of things, then being needed starts to feel exactly like being loved. It's not some kind of savior complex. It's the only emotional language you were taught. It's why an emotionally unavailable partner can feel so familiar, almost like home. Because maybe home was a place where you gave and gave and gave, and receiving just wasn't part of the deal. So what's the real cost of being this person? What's the hidden price for all these ingrained behaviors? And here's the cruelest irony of all. The world loves people who grew up too fast. You get praised for being so productive, so independent, so low maintenance. You're the one who always gets things done. Society rewards these trauma responses, but no one ever stops to ask what it costs you to become that person. This number, it represents the state of your nervous system. It has been switched on, in overdrive, 24/7 since you were a little kid. It never learned how to truly rest because back then, rest wasn't safe. Rest meant things could fall apart. And that's exactly where that deep, unshakable exhaustion comes from. Okay, so what do you do with all of this? How on earth do you begin to heal from something that wasn't just one thing, but 1,000 tiny moments? Let's talk about the path forward. So the first step, and it might sound a little dramatic, is to grieve. You have to let yourself mourn the childhood you missed out on. You're allowed to be sad for the kid who had to be so grown up. Second, you have to consciously, actively start to redefine your worth, to begin untangling it from your to-do list. And third, and this is often the hardest one, you have to learn how to receive, to let someone take care of you even in small ways without that immediate urge to earn it. If you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Your value is not measured by your productivity or how many problems you can solve for other people. You are not a human doing. You are a human being. And just being here, right now, that is and always has been enough. That child who grew up too fast did an absolutely incredible job. They were smart and strong and so brave. But they can rest now. The world is no longer on their shoulders alone. It's safe to let someone else take over for a while. So I'll just leave you with this question. You've been holding on so tight for so long. What would it feel like to finally, truly let go?
Subscribe.